So our get to know speaker today is Chuck Herman. He's the owner of Specialty Fitness Equipment, which is located at the corner of Renaissance Parkway and Emory Road in Warrensville Heights. I know he has a great story to tell about his passion for fitness that led him to where he is today. And I'm sure he's going to tell us all about his business. But first, let's get to know Chuck Herman. Welcome and thank you for talking with us. So, Chuck, where did it all start? Take us back in time and tell us how you got to where you are today.
All my life, I was involved with sports and athletics and played at a pretty high level in high school and in college, baseball and wrestling. And I was also a pretty decent student and had an affinity for science and math and enjoyed that. So I was able to walk, live in a few different worlds of athletics and, scholastics. And, when I got to college, everyone's thing, was, hey, let's go to med school. So you had to figure out a path to go into med school, and really wasn't excited about the options of biology or chemistry. And, I was a person who always thought ahead. I'm trying to stay ahead of the game. So if med school or being a doctor didn't work out, what else can I do to be happy, to make a living? And at Ohio State, that's where I got my degree, just like our mayor went to Ohio State. I found a program called exercise science, exercise physiology, and it suited the requisites for med school. And if I decided that, hey, that's not the path, then I have another option, which exercise science at that time, I didn't know anything about what I would be doing today. So it was more geared to corporate wellness, personal training, working in a sports medicine clinic, with applying exercise and preventative wellness, so to speak. And that appealed to me. And it was a nice program. It was hard, certainly challenging. And there were a lot of things that I enjoyed about the program that, I could apply what I was doing with sports, being a pitcher and so many different movements when you're pitching, and learning about how those mechanics are applied in a scientific way was fascinating to me. So I really geared more to movement and biomechanics. That was the class that really got me loving the movement aspect of how the equipment worked. And it just fascinated me. Now, again, never had the idea, wow, you could design fitness facilities and all the things that I do today. But, I was building that platform at that time in college. And then when I ended up graduating college, I was able to get an internship with a sports medicine clinic here in Cleveland. And after doing the internship and staying on for a few months, it just wasn't my cup of tea to be in an office and doing repetitive things, so to speak. So being the entrepreneurial spirit, going out there, because again, I've always been a guy who was, when I was young, shoveling driveways, raking leaves, whatever I could do to make a few bucks, oiling up the bowling alley lanes or whatever it may be. I was always hustling because I like to make money and like to not have to rely on my parents, which really we didn't grow up so well off. And, I had to do it myself. So, nothing was handed to me. And, I'm proud of, what my roots are. Back then, of course, you hated it because you got to do everything. And you certainly only know that when you're an adult. You kind of appreciate how you were brought up. After getting back to where I was with the sports medicine clinic, I was doing personal training, had a doctor that actually got me in, that I trained, that brought me into his business where they were doing the refractive surgery for eyes. He was one of the pioneers of it. And, got to learn how to do some seminars, a little more public speaking, learn a little bit more about business, because again, I came more from a scientific background and just had that business acumen just from street smart, so to speak. That opportunity lasted for, maybe almost a year. And then I just realized this is not for me as well. I got my car, drove around, found a company that where I ended up being for 15 years, but found a company that sold fitness equipment. And I'm like, we'll give this a shot. And really it just from there, after 2 weeks, I was probably ready to quit. But, when I got that first opportunity, first nice sale, make a nice commission, and you're like, wow, this is actually pretty good. So I kind of fast tracked at the company I first worked with in the business, and they got me into doing commercial sales, which at that time back in the mid '90s wasn't as known as it is today, where you're designing facilities for fire departments, police, corporate wellness, apartment facilities, hotels, you name it, recreation centers, YMCAs, so many different platforms and applications that we service. So, back then when I got into commercial, it was just kind of, thrown in the fire and, see what sticks. It's like throwing spaghetti on the wall, and you kind of just create your own way of doing things. And I basically grew a commercial division for that company and made it very successful. And then after 15 years, you get to a point where either that company appreciates what you're doing for them, or it's time to, spread your wings. So that's kind of just the humble beginnings, so to speak.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So tell us about the startup. How did you grow the business? What's your success story, I suppose?
Well, so, having been in the business at that time for 15 years and then making a decision to go off on my own, that was a big step. And, at my age at that time, two kids, three kids, I had three kids, and I think I just turned 40 and, I'm going to make a big career move. So, you go from the steady, consistent to the unknown. And I left the company that I worked for, took on a startup opportunity, which, that was a great opportunity within the fitness equipment business. It was more on the manufacturing side and design, which was a tremendous experience. I got to go overseas. I got to learn, more on the manufacturing side of our business, which, looking back, it's a tremendous experience that cannot be replicated, which helps me today being an expert, so to speak, on many different levels with not just equipment and how it's made and how it functions. So that opportunity, fell apart. It was a startup. And then, my fallback was, hey, I know the business, so I'm going to go back to my roots and, start a fitness equipment company. And I did so with the hopes that I could build it. And then right before, I did have a non-compete with my old company. And long story short on that one is that, I went through the ringer with that. They waited till the end of the non-compete, and we went through quite a bit of turmoil, and it was a very difficult time for me and my family personally. But I had my wife at my side, and I had my back, and we ended up settling through the process, got to keep Specialty Fitness Equipment, which is the name of the company. But, had to decide that, well, if I'm going to make this work, I was only going to be able to work in Pittsburgh and Columbus and Cincinnati and Indianapolis and anywhere outside Northeast Ohio, which didn't fall into the rings of where it would affect the non-compete, where it was extended for another year. So, again, those are some really significant challenges. And it was a point where, I had to reflect, and I'm on a couch and my wife's like, you're going to go and do this because we didn't go through this settlement and, financially get hit like this to have you go work for somebody. You're going to go do what you're best at. And, here's what our finances are. We have this much to live on, and let's make it happen. So
yeah. Can I ask a question though, that
Sure.
You had to work outside of this area, but that you had the whole country, right?
So
this region, was that so important to you, or was that because of the relationships you built, or?
Yes. So good question. So yes, I have the whole country at my hands really to do it. But because I had relationships that I formed over the 15 years, I was able to leverage that knowledge, some of that network, where it wouldn't conflict with what I had to abide by legally. And the really, and I hate to say it, the low hanging fruit. It's not low hanging fruit, but the thing I knew best was a certain application, which was multifamily student housing, senior living, which at that time in 2013, 12, it started booming back. So I just, went out, took many day trips during the week, and many couple one-nighters here, one-nighters there, in all these different cities, and just canvassed, dropped cards off, used the internet, which is great for resources to make the call, make the phone calls. Very calculated in everything that I did, and I look back, I'm like, I don't know how I did it.
Yeah, because that's good, because I one of the things I wanted to get back to, you talked about street smart business, your street smart business approach. So I gather that you, like me, really didn't go to school or college to learn business. So
Well,
your formal, growing a business, starting up a business had to have its challenges,
it did. And I think I left out when I was working with my old company, I did go back to get my MBA, to get the basics of business, but nothing can replicate the hands-on, practical experience where you're in the throes of the actual business. Like you're making, financial decisions every day. You're operating in order to, continue to operate. And during that time, as I got things started up and going, I was working out of my garage, and I was able to leverage some friends that were more than willing to help me, and still to this day, I'm forever grateful to everyone and anyone that has knowledge and expertise in whatever business or whatever it is, because I'm still learning today. I don't take it for granted, and I don't know everything. I think I know a lot, but I will never settle on the experiences and the knowledge that I've learned, because there's still so much more to learn, and you just never know. And
yeah, and in our last conversation, you mentioned, so I'm going to give you a chance to elaborate a little bit on that too, that your wife was such a big supporter through all of this as a business partner.
My wife was my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, and just gave me the confidence and the trust that she had everything in the back with family and everything taken care of, where she let me do my thing. She let me put my head down, let me just go at it and do what I needed to do. And she is that person that would celebrate the victories and celebrate the defeats, hand in hand with me. It was that's important, and I don't think I could have done and do what I'm doing today if it wasn't for her support and love, not just for us and our family, but just I'm sure this wasn't her passion to be a partner in a fitness equipment business, but I'm sure it's also not so bad.
Yeah, sure. So I'm imagine through how many years again have you had?
So, as we're here today, it was about this time 10 years ago where I left my old company that I worked for and kind of got the wheels in motion to where I'm at. And really,
good years and bad years. Good years and bad years. I know, I could relate to that, but has it been a nice steady incline?
It's been absolutely a nice steady incline. It's from that first year, just getting the ball rolling, we did well. It's just enough to get going, and then really on a quick path. We ended up getting a building, from working from, the garage to friends that have warehouses where I can have products shipped, to having, a network of subs that would deliver and install equipment for us, and really kind of just, having a presence that, I felt like it was almost fake, because it was me and my wife, and really didn't have any employees. It was working through subs, but we had this presence of, kind of fake it until you make it. Yeah. But I was so confident in how I did things and what I did, and took, very detailed care on how I, did and still do to this day things, because it's important to really be precise.
And now you have a staff that I'll let you talk about, and other ventures. So it's not just.
It's as things have evolved, Steve. It's we have 5 employees. I have a dedicated delivery and installation company, which is still specialty fitness equipment, but we separated that out because it just made more sense to have it as its own standing operation, called White Glove Installs. And we do moves of fitness equipment. It's basically a fitness equipment logistics company that obviously services specialty fitness equipment because they're my guys, but we do things for individuals, for companies that need fitness equipment. Gyms moved, relocated. Competitors actually come to us to help them. I've reached out to groups that, if they do business in Ohio or areas where we can actually service, we'll do it. So it's kind of its own business in itself.
Yeah, it's great. You have a beautiful showroom. I've been in it.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us about it?
So as we moved to Warrensville Heights from our previous location, where we almost decided to stay and either release or buy, we found the building where we're at, and it was an opportunity from a standpoint of having a piece of commercial real estate. And we've worked very hard, and we live very frugally in order to keep investing into the business, into the future. To be able to be comfortable and live nice. And we found the building where we're at. When we designed it, my wife, of course, had all the plans, and it was very important to design our showroom and operation to be efficient, but also to be a place where people can come in, feel comfortable, see that we know what we're talking about. That it's, you go to a doctor's office, you would hope that they're the professionals and experts and hopefully curing you of whatever ails you have. And when people come in here, I want them to feel comfortable, that they can see the equipment, which is in our showroom. We have a cardio showroom and a strength and accessory showroom. These are all pieces of fitness equipment that we work with a lot of our commercial projects, but also what we also offer for the general consumer. If they want to come in, we certainly will wholesale the quality stuff, and certainly they'll pay a price that's comparable to going to a Sears and Dick's, but they'll get a much better quality product, but also get some knowledge behind it. The showroom is a lot of our favorite pieces, things that we have a trust and confidence in that will perform for whatever the application is. So we have that. We have our warehouse in the back with the dock, where it makes it easy to receive products. So everything is really hands-on here, where it's an efficient process. We have our offices where we run, all of our other parts of the operation. And it's a second home. I find myself here a lot, and the days go by very quick. Let's just say that.
Sure. I know the feeling. What's the best-selling specialty equipment right now?
It's not about the brand. It's really more about the actual exercise piece. Your staples are treadmills, your ellipticals, your bikes. You all probably have seen the commercials with Peloton and kind of the connected fitness things. So we do have those. And what differentiates what we have is whatever you see on TV kind of just sets the platform for what we have in a professional series, so to speak. So, whereas Peloton is more of a technology company selling their technology off of some bike they maybe have subbed out from somewhere in China. We have companies that do the same thing, that have the same products and the same experience, but they're fitness equipment companies that have been around a long time, have the technology, but you're getting a far better, superior product and quality and functionality, warranties. And of course, you have us that, can deliver, install it, and service it. And really for not that much more money than what you would see advertised on, the big box or on TV.
Yeah, that's great. What does it look like 10, 20 years from now in your industry?
So, boy, I again, having been in it for 26 years now, it's always evolved. It's always grown. I think fitness and wellness in general in our country is a major importance to everyone, especially during these crazy times, and people more working from home and companies, it'll always be there. Technology, I feel, has been a big thing of late because of the circumstances of what's going on, but it's not always the end all. I think you always have your cookie cutter pieces that are still, there's nothing that can replicate movement, and you have to have some type of apparatus. Because here in Cleveland, of course, we know that we get the snow, and I know I am one that hates the cold. My bones hurt as we speak, and I'd rather be in my basement, where it's warm, and roll out of bed, or obviously I have this beautiful showroom that I just don't use because I don't want to be sweaty and not to par when somebody comes in, but. I think in our industry, there's always going to be a need for the specialty aspect of it. I don't know about retail because there's so much online buying, which you can do. But us being here, we provide an opportunity for individuals, for developers, for whomever it may be that's overseeing fitness amenities to get a customized approach to their needs. And that's what really separates us from anything else out there. There's not many of us that do what we do, where you can actually come to us, no obligation, just come ask, hey, what's going to be best for you today? What's going to be best for you 5 years, 10 years down the road? So, our approach is very customized, and very consultative. Whereas, you can go to Dick's, Costco, and, they could be selling, vacuum cleaners, and then they'll send the guy over to, oh, you want to buy a treadmill. This is what we specialize in. This is what we are the experts in. This is what we're going to share our knowledge in order to help you make a sound informed, purchase decision.
Sure. And I would imagine that other technologies, maybe like mine, not like mine, but like how it has worked for me, where video production has been around forever, but certain technologies sprang up that I probably had no idea that they were even going to, that help support what we do and push it. And so I guess what I'm getting to is the watches, the other devices that help us monitor our health, and then even remind us when we're not exercising enough. Do you think that drives your business a little bit too?
It does. It does so where the equipment that we offer will incorporate the technology to adapt with those other technologies. So I don't need to get into selling Fitbits and, Apple Watches and things like that. Our manufacturers, being what they are in the specialty fitness business, they are providing the capabilities to adapt their equipment with today's technology. So if you come in here and you want to buy a treadmill, it'll work Bluetooth or with the Ant Plus technology, and it'll sync up with your watches, with your iPhones or Androids. So, in today, that's a nice thing where I don't have to really get so in depth with technology, because it's hard to keep up, and it only lasts so long, because you can have after 3 years, it's antiquated, and then there's something new. So I rather offer people the quality of the equipment and not so much get into the bells and whistles with internet and apps and this and that. Just use your iPad or your iPhone and invest in what's below, the motors, the belts, the decks, the rollers, the frame. Don't get caught up on that technology up top, because you're going to pay for it. But it also becomes, it becomes antiquated, and then it renders your equipment piece potentially useless. Yeah. So I'm careful to give people that awareness. Ultimately, they're going to make their own decision. And I certainly am not going to tell anyone that they're wrong. I will certainly guide them, inform them, and usually, their decisions are going to come to their own sake, versus me telling them what to do.
Yep. You are a consultant. So today's challenges, without getting into a long conversation about it, but it's in everyone's face, the supply chain, that type of deal, or is that impacting your business?
Yes, everything, everything. Supply chain is definitely, it's been a challenge since this whole thing started, which we all know what we're talking about, but it's been very good to us. As we had to pivot our business for a bit, having been doing this for so long, we took a very proactive approach. I don't normally carry much inventory, and we brought in a lot of inventory, and knowing what I think people were looking for, we were able to basically supply and not have to turn people away. That, hey, we're out of stock, we don't have it. But with those challenges, it was there was always supply chain issues with getting product. Obviously today it's the freighting and the delays there. Costs have gone up so much. I feel like daily we're getting notices that, hey, there's a price increase, or hey, we have to tack on a 9% ocean surcharge for freight. It's horrible. It stinks, and I hate having to have to pass that on. But if I didn't, I won't be in business. But people, fortunately, it's not just us. It's the whole, country that's dealing with this on many different, businesses. But for us, we were able to really make it so that we would keep a slow trickle of equipment coming in, and and there's no really rhyme or reason for our seasons or cycles. So, I just going by gut instinct.
Sure. Hey, let's wrap it up a little bit by getting back to you, getting to know Chuck. What are you best at? What do you excel at, Chuck, that you can, take back and say, this is why we've achieved the success that we had?
That's a good question. I like to say everything, but I'm probably the worst at everything. I'm a good listener. If I wasn't a good listener, I wouldn't be able to confidently be where I'm at today, I don't think. And also be able to sleep well at night, other than waking up every so often, not because my mind is ticking, but I listen to a lot of people, whether it's good or bad. I like to get out there and just, again, this goes back to, treating people in different businesses and acumen, learning. It's what I'm good at there, and following through. Communication as well. Those are kind of the three things: listening, communicating, and just following through on what you promise. Never over promise. So I'm always about under promising and over delivering.
Yeah, that's great, excellent. And then of course, you got to be an expert in what you do and with what you know and with what you sell, and I think that you are. So I think that's another big part of it. Looking back at your career before we wrap it up, was there anything you'd change? Any do-overs? Thinking back to the past?
No, I wouldn't. At the time when I was going through a very, that difficult transition from working for somebody to going on my own, it was hell. It was a tough time, but I can confidently look back and know that those are the lumps that I need to take in order to be where I'm at today. And it's just a part of who I am. And, it's an experience. And I take, as we continue to go, any good or bad, it's always a lesson. You got to take something out of it in order to, not dwell on it. So, I think that's another good thing that I can ease my mind, is that I don't take things too seriously, and I'm able to kind of just, take it day by day, and it keeps life a lot easier, because right now I think it's crazy out there, and it's challenging, not for everyone. And you could seriously, just go off a cliff with our world today. And I keep it real as best I can. And I'm not quick to judge on anything. And I just want to keep my mind clear and keep my psyche good.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. Any questions for Chuck? Anybody?
Yeah, I have a question. Hey, Chuck, it's Peter Mehu.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, yeah, SOS, right across the park, the street there.
I see it all the time.
Yeah. My question is, your equipment is two-part question. Your equipment is exclusive to you, and also the other part of the question is, do you also do installation, repairs, and maintenance of other brands or other, people that, or companies that didn't necessarily bought from you?
Good question. So the manufacturers that we distribute, yes, they are exclusive to us in a territory. And there's some brands that I carry that are shared with a couple other similar companies, but typically we are the authorized, sales and service distributor for what we offer. And I also, that's nice to have that exclusivity, but these are also companies that I'm very comfortable with and have dealt with for many years, and have a confidence built in that, in order for me to service a customer, the companies need to service us. So it's not just to carry something. You need to have it's a support network, and that's important to us in order to be successful. As far as our, what we do, yes, we deliver, we install. It's all white glove. And we service. And not only do we service our own equipment in and out of warranties, but we have the capabilities to service and take care of other competing brands, whether usually typically out of warranty, because a lot of the companies make sure that the group or wherever somebody purchased something, if it's in warranty, it has to be serviced by that company. But we certainly, if somebody got in a position where that company is no longer around, we're going to handle it.
Okay.
No problem.
Good.
So if you need help, you let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Will do.
Good. All right. Any other questions? Okay.
Chief, you're going to be putting some fitness stuff for the guys, right?
Actually, I am looking for rock climbing. I don't know if you have something like that for me, or stair climber.
I do. We have it. You should come by anytime, give me a heads up, show you in the showroom. I have those pieces here, and, I'm happy to educate you and what's best for the department. And of course, take care of you guys.
That'll probably happen this week.
All right. All right. I'll be around. You just got to call me ahead of time because sometimes we're in and out. And that's another thing about our showroom. We do by appointment. It is open to the public and we certainly get walk-ins, but preferably because we're not a retail operation, it's always best to have an appointment so we can, give you the time that you deserve, to make sure that, you're getting all the information you need, because I'm not going to lie, this stuff is an investment. I'll make it as cost effective as possible, but, this is professional grade equipment and, we want it to last and be good for you.
Chuck, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. It was a great story. Thank you so much for sharing